Good morning, class. Hope you all are safe and fine at home. Welcome to our next session of EVS 2. Hope before watching this video you all must have gone through the lesson thoroughly so that you can understand the explanation properly. So in this session we are going to discuss our second chapter. What is our second chapter of EVS 2? History and the concept of time. Let us have a look on the important points of this lesson. This is our second chapter, History and the Concept of Time. In this chapter, these are the 4 points we are going to discuss. Division of time and the timeline. Second, measurement of time and methods of measuring time. Third, historical periods. Fourth, scientific methods of measuring time and establishing age, that is dating method. Now let us begin with our first point, division of time and the timeline. Now what is division of time? To understand this properly, let us have a look on the diagram. This is the diagram of our solar system. Do you see that? Sun and rest all other planets, correct? Where is our Earth? Yes, this one. This is our Earth, correct? And we all know that Earth revolves around the Sun, correct? All the planets revolve around the Sun. Our Earth also revolves around the Sun. Same way, along with the revolution, Earth moves around itself also. That is called spinning of the Earth. Okay. Earth moves around itself and it is also called as rotation. Because of Earth's rotation among itself, we are getting day and night. For example, this part of the Earth which is towards the Sun is getting light, whereas this half part which is away from the Sun is in the darkness. Now when Earth moves from one side to another, this part which is in the darkness will go to the light and the other part will come to the darkness. Okay. Now how much time Earth takes to complete one rotation? 24 hours. How much time? 24 hours. That is one day. This way we divide our day into 12 hours. 12 hours day and 12 hours night. This way we calculate our time. So our Earth rotation and revolution is very important for calculating our division of time. So this way we divide our time. That means 12 hours makes one day, 24 hours. One day makes one day, 24 hours, and 7 days makes a week. 2 weeks makes fortnight, 4 weeks makes a month, 12 months make a year, and this is the way we calculate time, and it goes bigger and bigger in units, as like 1 year is followed by another. When 100 years go, it is called a century. 10 years is called a decade, correct? And when 10 centuries are completed, is called a millennium. So this is the method how we divide our time, and this method is called a unilinear division of time. Now let us discuss about timeline. Why timeline is important and what is the connection of timeline with history? So here do you see common era, Christian era in bracket? What is this common era? So our history is divided into two parts. Means the timeline of history is got divided into two parts, that is one part the birth before Christ, another part the part of after Christ. Okay, one part is of before Christ and one part is of the birth after the Christ, after the birth of Jesus Christ. So the era after the birth of Jesus Christ is called as Christian era. Is that clear? And in the unilinear division of time, years in Christian era followed one after another, 1 year, 2nd year, 3rd year. In short, this common era or Christian era is written as CE or AD. Mostly when we learn anything in history, any event, we see that along with the date, alphabets are mentioned, either CE, AD or BC. What are these alphabets? These CE means Christian era or AD means Anno Domini. What is the meaning of Anno Domini? In the year of Lord, and both are same. They both belongs to the same era. So common era or Christian era started in whose memory? In the memory of Jesus Christ. Is that clear? Now, because why this Christian era is called as common era? Because now the calendar which we are following, the whole world is following, January to December, is began in Christian era. It is the Christian era calendar only, and now the whole world is following, correct? So that's why now it is not called as Christian era, it is called as common era. So how the year is written in common era or Christian era? The year is written in serial order. The first 100 years, that is the first century of this era, is written as 1200 CE or 1200 AD. First millennium is written as 12000 CE or 12000 AD. Now this we have studied about the time after the birth of Jesus Christ, correct? Now what about the time before the birth of Jesus Christ, what it is called? So the incidents or any event which happened before the birth of Jesus Christ, along with the date, what alphabet are mentioned along with it? BCE. What is the full form of BCE? Before Christ era. Is that clear? Now what is the difference between common era and BC, before Christ era? In common era we go in serial order. In before Christ we don't write years in serial order. It does not go as 1, 2, 3, 4. You must have studied in maths reverse order, reverse number, 100 to 1, right? So this is the big difference between Christian era and before Christ era, that in Christian era we go serial wise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the era before Christ we go opposite. As like that, see the example given over here of Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautam Buddha. Both of them got birth and died before the birth of Christ. What is the birth year and death year of Vardhaman Mahavir? 599 BC, 527 BC is given over here. Now which one is the birth year? Of course this one. Which one is the death year? This one. But it is written opposite. Normally how we are writing? Birth year first and then the death year, correct? But when we are talking about the incidents which happened before the Christ, we write it as opposite in a reverse order, okay? Bigger number first and then comes the smaller number. 599 BC means death year will come first and birth year will come later. Same way Gautam Buddha, what is the death year and birth year of Gautam Buddha? Death year is 563 BC, birth year is 483 BC. It is written in reverse order. Is that clear? 483 BC is the birth year, 563 is the death year. So this is the big difference of common era and Christian era. Is that clear? Common era, Christian era or before Christ era. That before Christ era is written in reverse order. Common era or Christian era is written in a serial wise. Now with this we have completed our first point. Now coming to our second point, measurement of time and methods of measuring time. Already we have discussed how we measure time, right? So what is the smallest unit of time? We see the watch, no? What is the smallest unit of time? Second. Very good. Then comes minute, then comes hours, then come day, 24 hours, correct? Then from days to week, week to month, month to year, and then century and millennium. This is the way we calculate our time. We generally indicate particular day by writing date. How we calculate our time? By writing date. Now if today is 14 or 15, we know that tomorrow will be 16. Or yesterday it was, today is 14, tomorrow is 15, yesterday it was 13, correct? So this is the way we will calculate our time, even the year. Now this year is going 2020, last year was 2019, the coming year will be 2021. This way we calculate our time. Now the calendar which we are following is from January to December is continuous, that is the calendar of Christian era. But different religions have their own calendars also. Is that clear? As like, for example, you can take the example of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He started his own calendar, his new era, and it is called as Shaka. What it is called as? Shaka. What the calendar started by Shivaji Maharaj is known as? It is known as Rajyabhishek Shaka, which is started in 1674 AD. Now what is this AD? Very good. Anno Domini, in the year of Lord, means this incident happened when? After the birth of Jesus Christ. Now why he started his own calendar? To memorize his coronation ceremony. Is that clear? Same way in India, two main calendars are mostly followed by our Hindu religion. Which is that calendar? Shalivan Shaka and Vikram Samvat. Same way, Islamic peoples, the Muslim peoples have their own calendar. What is the name of their calendar? Hijri era. And when they started their calendar, the founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, when migrated, means he moved from one city to another city. That is from city of Makkah to Medina when he moved. That movement or that migration, when he started his journey, from that time onwards, their new calendar, Islamic calendar started, which is called Hijri era. Clear? Same way, Parsi community in India also use their own calendar. What is their name of their calendar? Shehanshahi era. Is that clear? Now, with this, we have completed our second point. Coming to our third point, historical periods. Now, what we are going to see in this, as we all know, history goes back when our solar system come into existence, when our earth come into existence. When our earth come into existence, it is 4.5 billion years ago. Okay, and our earth is a planet in the solar system. So how much old history our earth has? It is presumed that our earth has 4.5 billion years old history. So is it possible to study such a huge history in a one part only? No, it is not possible. Therefore, the time in history is divided into two main periods. Okay. Now, what is that two main periods? These two main periods are prehistoric period and historic period. Now, let us understand which period is called prehistoric period and which period is called historic period. Prehistory simply means before history. Okay. The prehistoric period is the period for which no written records are available. Do you all understand? Prehistoric period is the period when people don't know to write. They did not develop any language. They did not know writing. They did not write anything. So, of that period, we do not have any written records. So, that period is called prehistoric period. Now, which period is called historic period? The historic period is the period for which written records are available. Understood, everybody? So, historic period, when it is started, when people developed language, when they started writing. On what they used to write, already we have studied in the previous chapter, written records, correct? So, on what they used to write? They used to write on walls, stones, stone inscription, copper plates. They used to write on the leaves of trees, okay? So, when they started writing, from that time onwards, historic period started, because from that time we have written records available of that period. So, this way our history is divided into two parts, prehistoric period and historic period. Prehistoric means no written records are available. Historic period means written records are available. We can study about them with the help of their writing, but prehistoric period we cannot study about them because there is no written records are available. If we want to study about them, there is another option we have to take, means we have to search for the material sources. We have studied three sources, material, written and oral. So, for prehistoric, as there is no written record available, on what we have to depend on? We have to depend on material sources to study about these people who were there in prehistoric period. In this, we have completed our third point. Now, coming to our fourth point. scientific methods of measuring time and establishing age, that is dating method. Now what is this dating method? Already I have explained you that in the previous chapter we have studied about three sources: material, written and oral. Now when we are talking about material sources, okay, so how we are going to understand that the thing which is buried under the ground, this evidence is usually in the form of broken man-made artifacts and fallen structures, right? So with the help of these remains we use to study about these people, prehistoric people. Otherwise no other evidence we have. So when the thing, these artifacts, is removed from under the ground, how we can say that this thing is this much years of old, this particular pot is 3000 years of old. So to tell this, historians are using some methods. Directly they don't say anything. First they do research on it, they do test on it, and then they come to the conclusion. So what other methods historians are following? There are two important methods which is given in your textbook. There are many methods, but in this chapter we are going to study about only two methods, that is carbon-14 analysis and tree ring analysis, which is also called as dendrochronology. These are the methods which is known as dating techniques. With the help of these methods, historians date any artifacts or any materials. Now what is this carbon-14 analysis? This is actually a test, means all the living things has radioactive elements in our body. Is that clear? This test is mostly done on the things which related to the living things, as like if they are getting any kind of bones or something, on that this test is done, carbon-14 analysis. Is that clear? That means all the living things has some radio elements in our body, and when we die these radioactive elements keeps on decreasing in a very slow manner. Okay, and when the bone is recovered by the archaeologist, when they remove the bone from under the ground, they see how much radioactive element is left in that particular thing. The lesser the radioactive element, the more that thing is old. Okay, this is called carbon-14 analysis test. Now what is this tree rings analysis? Tree rings analysis or dendrochronology is the test mostly done on the wooden artifacts. What is this tree ring? When the tree is cut, you must have seen the trunk, the cut trunk is having this type of circles, like this circles it has. Have you all seen that? Yeah, so this is one circle is formed in 1 year. So historians count these circles, okay, and based on these circles they decide the wooden artifact is how much years old. This is called tree ring analysis or dendrochronology. Understood both the test or both the methods, dating methods, with the help of which historians are dating the things which they are getting from under the ground. So what are the two methods we have studied in this chapter? Carbon-14 analysis and tree ring analysis, that is dendrochronology. Is that clear? Now by using these dating techniques, we learn how the layers of soil and the remains found in them are. Then we can determine their period approximately. For example, if we got an earthen pot, so it is estimated by the historians after looking at it that it is 5000 years old. But after using dating techniques, we come to know that approximately this pot is of 3000 BC. Okay, that means this pot is made 3000 before 3000 BC. This way we can conclude with the help of these dating techniques how much old the things we are which we are getting from under the ground. So to conclude the lesson today, what we have studied in this chapter, we have studied division of time and the timeline, that means how we divide time, and the timeline means there is two division, common era, Christian era, and the time before Christ. And what else we have studied? Measurement of time means starting the new calendars followed by different religions. And the third, we have studied historical periods, which is divided into two parts, prehistoric and historic period. And the fourth, we have studied about dating methods. In this, we have studied two methods. First is carbon-14 analysis and tree rings analysis. This way, we have finished with our chapter, all the 4 points. I hope you all must have understood it properly, and I'll request you all again to go through the lesson before watching this video so that you can understand the lesson properly, explanation. My next video about lesson number 3 will come on Monday. Till then, take care, stay safe,